Thank you for joining us today, where we're going to be talking about 7 ways to improve the profit in your building company. This is hosted by HBXL Building Software. My name is Jo Mulgrew, and I'm both Managing Director of the HBXL Group, and I'm also a lead tutor at the HBXL Skills Academy. I've been involved with renovating property for many years, and I've also been sat at the helm of this company for 5 years, and I've been in construction and digital since 2000, so 26 whole years in this space. And with my tutor hat on for the Skills Academy, we spend a hell of a lot of time talking about profit and why it matters and where people get it wrong. So today we're going to be letting you into some of our I wouldn't say they're secrets, and probably some of it is common sense, but things that we get wrong in the day-to-day of running our construction company. And we examine these in close detail during our skills bootcamp programs, which are designed to support mentor building companies get it right and to make the profits that they deserve and aspire to. So during our program, often 15 or 16 weeks, you get to know a lot of content in terms of how to improve your building company, and we're distilling that down into just a few short minutes today, which I hope you'll take away as valuable time and time well spent. So we're going to start with, why the flip do we need to make a profit? Well, obviously we need to make a profit. We need to make money, don't we, to pay the bills, to pay the people that work on site, to pay our suppliers. But we often get the profit element wrong, and the average SME building company usually only makes 2 to 3% net profit at the end of the year, which is minuscule for the stress and effort that goes into making that. And there's a few key reasons that we're going to be talking about today why that happens. It all starts with planning for our success, knowing what we're trying to achieve with our project. But that 2 to 3% can easily become zero or a loss, depending on the year, the weather, one bad payment. So I want to start with just setting the scene that profit isn't a dirty word. It is not naughty. It's not, something that we should be ashamed of. Profit is not optional. Why isn't it optional? Well, the market is up and down. COVID hit us, Brexit hit us. All of these things are outside of our control, can hit our building company. So we need to be building profit and cash reserves during those good times to assist us when we have some little bumps in the road. So having a profit pumped in the business and put into a side piggy bank, if you like, make sure that we've got a future for the business is a safety net for when those things do go wrong. It helps us invest in the business. Do we want more equipment? Do we want to take on different types of projects? Do we want to grow and take on, say we're a home extender and we want to get into property development, or we want to get into buy-to-let, for example. So having those savings delivered through profit allows us to grow in the future. The market and the economy does turn on a dime sometimes. We'll have seen that more recently with the budget. It made things get really sticky and slow for at least several months. So having those reserves helps you get through those leaner times. And obviously having a bit of confidence as a business owner, it motivates you. It makes you continue doing this thing, which is running the business. It can be quite stressful and lonely at times. So, the profit is a just reward for doing an absolutely fantastic job, as no doubt the majority of you here listening are. So it's not something we should be ashamed of, and we shouldn't be trying to achieve. We need to, so far as having a sustainable business. And some of you listening might want to be handing over your business to somebody else in the future. It might be, one of your children or a business partner. You might want to sell the business. So you need to have profits in the business in order to do that. So we'll pause just a moment, take a breath, And we're going to start at the beginning with 7 points that I want to talk you through today. How on earth do we actually achieve that profitable business? So number one, and really simple, a 101, is we need to add a sensible profit margin, a proper profit margin to every job. And then we need to protect it through effective job management. Now, I know you're thinking, I know, that's silly. Why are you even mentioning that to me? But so many building companies just add a really thin margin on top of the job costs and expect that to help them achieve that net profit. And then with a few difficulties managing the project, either internally or through factors beyond the builder's control, budgets go over, the programme goes over, and those small profits are whittled away to that 2 or 3% or zero. So we've got to be the profit protectors as well as the initial profit calculators when we're quoting. We've got to really be careful that we manage that profit. So again, another 101, price everything and price it flipping accurately. So don't use square metre rates. They're out of date before we know it. They cover a myriad of kind of issues that site might have specifically, deeper foundations, dodgy ground, technical detailing, specification detailing that is not normal, inverted commas, as is the architect's whim at the moment. We get all sorts of fantastical designs and specifications coming through our estimating service. So people shouldn't be using average square metre rates. We want to be making sure that we are calculating absolutely everything materials wise and at today's prices, and including wastage on that. We will be wasting some materials. That just happens, doesn't it? We also need to make sure that we've got all our time accounted for. I often hear builders say, well, okay, my time is the one thing that I can reduce. If someone says, oh, that's too expensive, I just think to myself, well, can I do that quicker? Okay, I'll reduce the rate, the quote by X amount, and I will try and do it quicker. But what normally happens is that the builder ends up absorbing that time and having to go over and effectively giving that time for free because it was too expensive to the client in the first place. So don't absorb labour time on your slate. It's got to be on the customer's slate. And making sure that we've got appropriate plant in place, appropriate scaffolding and so forth in place, because those prelims, those costs, kind of as soon as the programme goes over, actually eat into our profit. And obviously missing things like permits and driving into city centre, kind of fees, £9 a day for every single van that goes into the city of Bristol or into London or wherever it is you live, all adds up. So make sure that we've got all of that in there. One thing that's often missed is builders' own time, their own management time, their own quoting time, design time, ordering and procurement time, sorting out the business insurance time. None of this ends up within the quotations. So lots of builders I talk to are there getting up at 5-6 o'clock in the morning to start really early to get all this stuff organised, and that is just free to the client. None of that is accounted for in terms of the quoted price. So you need to make sure that your own time, your own management efforts are incorporated within the quotation for the customer. And just a side note, if you're thinking about the project starting in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months time, that's what you're quoting for, you need to understand that costs are rising underneath you every day that passes. Inflation on materials is significant, and it has been on labour over the last kind of 12 to 24 months. So you need to be thinking about what impact is inflation going to have on the cost of this job, and by the time I start it, and throughout the project. And that also nibbles away at our profit if we don't quote with an inflated price I think inflation is meant to be through the BCIS. That's the cost index for the construction industry. It estimates that inflation will be about 15%, 15% on construction costs over the next 5 years. So we need to make sure that we are thinking about that. Okay, so price the actual job itself accurately, make sure that we're not missing anything. And good software, good estimating software can help us with that, and good estimating services as well. One thing that is often missed is the actual business overheads of each project, just the business overheads of running the company. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about your mobile phone bill, your insurances, your internet. I'm talking about maybe you've got an office and the rent and the buildings and contents insurance. I'm talking about your accountant or maybe some finance and admin support that you have. So each of those costs needs to be incorporated within your quote. So whether you have a job on right this second or not, those costs are going to be happening. So you need to make sure that all of those costs are absorbed into every one of the quotes that you do. That overhead shouldn't come out of your profit, and that's another reason why many firms actually don't make what they thought, because they haven't incorporated their company overhead appropriately into each job. So that might be those general kind of costs that I was been talking about. And it could be just the management costs of running projects, but that aren't necessarily specific to an individual project. So, for example, you might have a foreman or a site manager, and they're on all sorts of projects. So they're not necessarily quoted within a single project, but they're nevertheless an overhead of the business in general. Same for your management time as a director, maybe. You've got those costs. They're not necessarily assigned to any individual project, but the quotes and the jobs that you do need to pick up the cost of that. Make sure it's incorporated into each and every estimate. Again, good estimating software can calculate that for you. Now, most building companies' overhead is around 15%, 15%. So if you're not calculating your overheads and incorporating that within each and every building project, you are absorbing that 15% out of your profit. Many building firms have said to me that they have never calculated their overheads. They don't know the cost of their overheads. And this is something that we focus on within our business management skills and estimating skills bootcamp. But as I say, it's usually around 15%. On the light side, 12, maybe at the max, 18, 19%. Okay, you need to review your overheads periodically. So you can add that overhead to your job as a percentage, say 15%, or you can add it as a weekly cost once you've worked out what your total overhead is, then divide it by the number of weeks of the year and make sure that every week of project you've got those overheads on. One thing I like to propose to most builders is that they're running light on staffing. They are working round the clock. And as I was just saying, they're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, working late or on the weekend. They don't have the right support within the business to help them, and they're running themselves ragged. So what I like to propose through the Skills Bootcamp is to have a think about, in an ideal world, what support do you need in your business? What would make the difference? And some of those things could be quite small. So I was talking to a builder recently, and what was going to make the difference to him was somebody to actually manage the invoicing, chase payments, and liaise with the merchants, suppliers and what have you when they were being misquoted on their invoices, so doing the invoice checking. And that was going to really help him a lot. And we worked out that if he had, say, a day a week support on that, it was only going to cost him probably £150 a week to actually have that support, which was going to make a massive difference to his business. So think about, what support do you need? It might be that you want to get off the tools and therefore you need some management assistance. So you might need a site manager, or you might need a foreman, so that you can actually spend some time in the office actually doing the estimating, doing the bit that you're really good at, the client liaison, the securing the work. So what I want you to think about is pricing today as if you had those costs. Quote today as if you had that additional overhead within your business. Maybe it's an office you want to get out from working from home. Maybe you need a storage facility. Maybe you need a new van. Get those costs into your overhead. and then apply those to your quotes. It might be today that your overheads are only 12% because you're running really lean. But actually, if you had that extra finance support, or that office, or that new van, you would be more effective. And quote today as if you had that cost already in the business, and see if that has a detrimental impact on you winning the work. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that eking up of your pricing will make no difference at all to winning the job, but will mean that you get, say, your life back from running yourself ragged. Other things to ask yourself, do you have a pension? Are you paying yourself a pension? You need to make sure that that is in your quote as well. So if as a self-employed person, ultimately, you do have a pension pot. So yeah, future-proof. What do you need? Next is just a mathematical, simple 101 is what kind of profit margin or markup, should I say, are you adding to your projects? So oftentimes builders just add, a flat 10%, 15% to their job costs, and that's it. So they've got a 100k job. They'll say, I want 15%, so I'm going to add 15,000 to it. So I'm going to quote them 115,000 plus VAT, and that's my quote. As we've already just talked about, overheads can be that 15%. So if you're not charging for your overheads in the first place, you're actually making zero profit because you're not covering your actual business overheads in the first place. So you're never going to make progress if you add 10, 15%. You need to be adding, say, 20 to 30% on top of your overheads. And you might say to me, there's no chance, Jo, can I do that? But I think you will be surprised, because many a bigger builder than you in your area will be charging higher overheads in the first place because they have the people, they have the admin staff, they have the project manager, they have someone in-house doing the finance stuff. So you're already going to be cheaper than these guys just because of your overhead. And believe me, through our estimating service, we get asked to add regularly between 50 and 60% markup across overhead and profit. So, if you're only adding 10, 15%, you are going to be way cheaper than they are. And we actually have an exercise within the Skills Bootcamp where I ask people to quote on the same job. And that £100,000 job, which has basic job costs, 100,000, what would they quote? And I get answers regularly between about 120,000 and say 185,000 for the exact same job. So there is no right price for that job. It's how much does the client want you? How great a job do you do? How great a job do you do at selling yourself and your services? How much do you make that client want you? We will talk about this difference between markup and margin, and I'll give you an example in a moment. But just to confirm, you really need to be thinking at least 20-25% on top of overheads. But if you add, say, 20-25%, do you actually make 20-25%? The answer is actually no, because markup is how much you add on top of the cost, and margin is how much you keep from the sales price, that quoted price. This can be quite complicated. People don't quite understand that. So I'm going to just give you a quick example. So say we've got a £100,000 job of job costs, and we want to add 10%. We're going to make 10% profit markup on that job. So we say, 10% of 100k is £10,000. All right, so I'm going to make £10,000. But is 10,000 actually a 10% profit margin? The answer is surprisingly no, because actually £10,000 now over my sales price of 110,000 is actually only 9%. So get your calculator out, do 10k over 110, believe me, is 9%, not 10%. So as you actually start to say you're going to add 20%, am I going to make 20% because I've added 20% markup? Yes, you're going to make 20k, but 20k over now 120 is not 120, isn't 20%. So that's £20,000 over 120,000 is 16.5%. So I'm actually only making 16.5% when I add a 20% markup. People are often surprised, so they think they're making more money than they actually are, even though the actual net profit number is the same. So that's just the top tip there. We talk about that a lot in the boot camp. That will help you understand the difference. Another profit leak. Absorbing client changes. Oh, I see this all the time. You have customers just asking you to do a little change while you're here, assuming that it won't impact the cost of the project. Well, it might not immediately have more cost in terms of materials, for example, but it will certainly have time in terms of thinking, management, decision making, people management. That scope creep is dangerous. It is a profit killer. And in my opinion, there's no change that is kind of scot-free in terms of impact on your job cost. It always impacts. So make sure that you've got a clear contract that protects you in the first place in terms of changes. Make sure that contract specifies who within your business is allowed to agree those changes, and then follow a change request process and make sure your client knows that. It doesn't have to be onerous. It's just this person can make a change request to that person, that named person. And in doing so, the named person in the company will then ensure they get sign off, whether it will impact the cost of the project or not. And if you have that process and the client knows it from day one, they will not expect changes to be free of charge. They won't expect it to be absorbed, because so that's the process. That's how we handle those changes for everybody's benefit. Make sure that your job is fully spec'd as far as possible at the start, and that your client has made as many of the decisions that they can before they start the project. It is a client's prerogative to make changes. They're gonna, but you shouldn't be absorbing it when there is a scope change. So make sure your contract is fully scoped, that the payments are identified and when they are going to be made, and what happens if a change is requested. I said at the start of this project, this presentation, that we obviously need to quote effectively with our profit identified, but we also need to be that guardian of that profit by protecting our jobs, protecting that profit, running them efficiently, making sure that we're organised, making sure that everybody knows what's what. A huge statistic here, there are 69% of projects exceed budget by 10%. So if we were only adding 10% profit onto our project, we are gonna lose that 10% because most projects go over budget. So for a start, we need to make sure that our profit margin kind of knows that there is going to be a budget increase, or the spend is going to have to go up, or we're going to eat into our profit. Maybe quote with a contingency, or let your customer know that they should allow for a contingency. Make sure that we've got those processes we were just talking about in terms of change request. Make sure that we're scheduling properly and effectively, and know what resources we need and what people we need. So use management software to help you with that. Ultimately, time and delays is money. So we need to make sure that we're organised. Make sure that we have negotiated with our suppliers effectively. We could do that in a couple of ways, but most simply making sure that we've estimated everything at the start of the project, and then see what the supplier will do in terms of you bulk purchasing. I don't mean bulk delivery, but bulk purchasing, so they can see, the scope of the job rather than just you buying piecemeal. And also, just as a point of note, focus yourself on the big ticket items. I find that many builders kind of fixate on things like a bag of sand, a bag of cement, and they know off the top of their head what that costs, but less so on the big ticket items. If you can shave 10, 15% of, say, doors and windows or trusses or staircases, for example, that will do so much for your bottom line compared to, I managed to get, 7p off brick ties or something, so make sure that we're focusing on the big ticket items and making those negotiations in the first place. And then with our kind of general building materials, and give the merchant, the supplier, a wider scope of what's required so that they can make a judgment on the total value to them and what discount they can provide on the whole job, not, as I say, just on the piecemeal bit. And making sure that everyone's communicating with everybody so that we're sharing information, sharing latest drawings, sharing specifications, sharing changes. And you can do that through digital solutions, which we'll talk about in a moment. And also anticipate problems coming up. Anticipate risks are what may happen. Issues are what we're dealing with now. We really want to make sure that we're thinking ahead what might be a problem. So with a mitigation strategy, we can avoid it. And we spend a lot of time thinking about risk and issues within our project management skills boot camp. All right. So just a little bit more before we wrap up. I want to talk using digital, because digital tools, software in old speak, can help do the heavy lifting. It can revolutionize your business. How? It can join up all the processes from the concept of the project right through to completion. And by sharing information all the way through that chain of the project, you avoid errors, you avoid omissions, and you save time. So it can save a lot of time as well, because admin can really eat into the short amount of management time that you do have. Many of those tasks are repetitive. If you've got, say, spreadsheets with your estimates in them, you can repeat those errors. You need tools. The tools of today can really help you out. There's so much automation in them, and you can tailor them so that the automation is as you want it. You don't have to just take it out of the box. And if you can optimize your business by joining it up, you can free your time. You can free your management time to grow the business, or just to take an afternoon off every so often, which we'd all like to do. So what kind of digital tools am I talking about? Well, something like Estimator Express. Sorry, I'm going into a sales mode here, but something like Estimator Express can assist you with instantly, or very quickly, should I say, producing quotes for your residential building work. It's super time saving because there's loads of templates set up, all the calculations are done for you. You need to just put in your basic information about the project, and then it can produce the detailed estimate for you. Not only that, it can type up the quote for you. It can produce a cash flow report. It can produce your material schedules. It can provide you with a staged payment profile. Nothing is missed. It's doing it all for you. So you don't have to rely on your poor old noggin that is tired after a full working day. You can get software to do it for you. And better than that, it's live linked to the latest prices on building materials. It also produces your profit and overhead calculations for you, as well as keeping abreast of inflation and making sure that your quotations are using the inflation calculation tool to ensure that by the time you start the project, you know what the price of materials are likely to be in, say, 6-9 months' time, and avoid that profit erosion. You can also join us on our Skills Bootcamp programs. These, would you believe, are 90 to 100% funded by the government. They need healthy, sustainable construction firms. We have such big housing targets and retrofit targets here in the UK. They're spending heavily on the health of SME construction firms. That's small to medium-sized construction firms. So from as little as 2 hours a week, twice a week, you can get genned up on estimating, CAD, business management skills, how to manage your business better with project management tools and processes. Systematizing your business is going to make the world of difference. So I know that time is tight right now because you're all really, really busy. I know that money is tight right now because the profits we were making are perhaps slightly eroded by inflation, and the cost of building has got higher. There's no doubt about it. So the job we have to do to convince our customers to spend money with us is harder, and competition is fierce because there's slightly fewer jobs right now. But if you join us on our skills program, we'll show you how to make it less stressful and more profitable. And with the right software tools as well, we've got you covered. We can make you an expert in running your building company. And we hear loads of really great stories about how people feel more confident, less stressed, and happier running their firm once they've been through our skills programs. And if you want to know a little bit more, there's our 16-page profit making guide, profit margin making guide. That's hard to say. How to increase your profit in your building company. It's really straightforward. 16 pages that should make a really big difference to your business. But I'd love to talk you through our skills program to help you find out directly from myself and the rest of my team how to improve things for you too. It's possible, and we help loads of firms every year. So you can find out all the info. You're going to get an email post this webinar all about it. You can book a call with the team to discover more. How can we help you? You can have a short software demonstration to find out what digital tools we've got that might help you. And you can try that software out for a good couple of weeks. And we also have skills boot camps in your region. Visit the website and find out if it's 100% funded for you. All right. So thank you so much for your time. I've really appreciated you being here. I hope that 2026 is a great year for you. Start it well, really thinking about how you can plan for your own success. Cheers, everybody, and appreciate your time. Bye.